We celebrate the Queen's official birthday this year not in the traditional way with a parade, award ceremony, followed by a garden party at Government House. Instead, the global COVID-19 pandemic has forced organizers to cancel celebrations in the United Kingdom, and the overseas territories have followed suit. We have found another way to reflect upon this significant milestone as Her Majesty celebrates her 94th birthday. These are unprecedented times. This is the first time in her 68-year reign that the customary celebrations have been halted. But that does not mean we have lost the opportunity to mark this significant occasion. This remains a chance to reflect upon and celebrate the strong ties between the United Kingdom and the Cayman Islands. We invite you to join us on a trip down memory lane to 26 years ago when Her Majesty and the Duke of Edinburgh arrived on the Royal Yacht Britannia for their second visit to the Cayman Islands. Arriving on the 26th of February 1994, the royal couple enjoyed a full program of engagements, which we'll shortly all enjoy again. As Chief Secretary during this historic and memorable visit for our islands, I was privileged to have played a part in the planning, preparations, and execution of the visit program. I hope that you and your families will enjoy a chance to recall a less troubled time.
After months of preparation, the day finally arrived. The Cayman Islands, well prepared, honored to host the royal visit. Grand Cayman was the 5th stop on Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh's tour of the Caribbean, Latin America, and Bermuda. To welcome Her Majesty and Prince Philip were hundreds, perhaps thousands of people lining the shore, many waving the British flag. The royal couple was met by His Excellency the Governor and Mrs. Gore, who introduced them to local dignitaries. Her Majesty was presented with the first of many bouquets by 2 students from Bardentown Primary School before heading along the royal route to the Legislative Assembly. And the welcomes didn't end there. A packed house, if you will, of well-wishers awaited Her Majesty's arrival at the LA. Shortly before that arrival, the Guard of Honor from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Force took their positions, where they would soon be inspected by Her Majesty.
Guard of honor! Stand down! East! Stand easy! Majesty, your guard of honor of the Royal Cayman Islands Police is formed up and ready for your inspection, ma'am.
One of the highlights of the royal visit was the state opening of the 1994 session of the Legislative Assembly, where Her Majesty would deliver the speech from the throne. This speech concentrated on the pillars of the Cayman Islands economy, tourism and finance.
Pray be seated. Prince Philip and I are delighted to make this return visit to these beautiful islands. I am especially pleased to be present today to open the Legislative Assembly and to deliver my speech in person. The Privy Council recently approved an amended constitution, updating the 1972 constitution to take account of developments on the islands. Next week, you will elect a 5th member of the Executive Council, thereby easing the burden on other ministers, which has been increasing with the remarkable developments which have taken place in recent years, notably since our last visit in 1983. The financial sector remains the key to a successful future for these islands. My government is determined to maintain a financial services industry of high quality and integrity through strict adherence to prudent policies, augmented by the introduction of the new mutual funds legislation. This year, the public and private sectors will launch a major promotional program to increase the awareness overseas of the high-quality financial services and company and shipping registration offered by these islands. Of particular note is the planned hosting of the Red Ensign Shipping Register's annual conference in April, for the first time in the island's history. Cayman Airways Limited saw its fleet of aircraft reduced in 1993 as the company streamlined its operations. In so doing, it considerably eased its debt burden and can concentrate this year on improving its cost effectiveness and its service to customers. My government will strive to maintain Cayman Airways' share of the air traffic market through the Bermuda II negotiations. The tourism sector registered a significant increase in air passenger arrivals on the islands in 1993, thereby providing much-needed stimulation of the economy. Plans are now in place to put more emphasis on advertising for the lucrative European market. In this context, my government will lay particular emphasis on the need to protect the natural environment and wildlife of the islands. I much look forward to opening the National Botanic Park tomorrow. A long-range strategic plan for the education system will be embarked upon, with the full participation of administrators, teachers, parents, students, and the community. The promotion of health in the country will receive high priority this year, and my government proposed to put in place a national health insurance scheme by the end of the year. Phase 1 of the upgrading of Georgetown Hospital will be carried out this year, and new health care centres are planned for the districts of West Bay and Bodden Town. This year, celebrated as the International Year of the Family, my government will continue to place much emphasis on programs which enhance the family unit and address the needs of children and young people who require special attention and support in the face of many stresses. A local residential drug rehabilitation centre will soon open, and it is hoped that this facility will prove an alternative to sending drug offenders overseas for treatment. The development of sporting facilities for the young remains an important objective, and in this respect, I look forward to opening Phase 1 of the West Bay Sports Complex this afternoon. A national sports stadium is also planned, and work will start on it later in the year. An increase in civil work has necessitated a move to new offices by the legal department. The move will be completed this year. In 1994, the Cayman Islands Law School will see its students graduate for the first time under the honours degree programme of the University of Liverpool. The Royal Cayman Islands Police continues to function efficiently and effectively. The reduction in burglaries in 1993 indicates that increased patrols and other preventative measures have been successful. The Crime Stoppers program continues to be a major factor in solving crimes. The prison service operates at a high standard. Rehabilitation programs will continue under its newly appointed director. Agriculture will continue to facilitate and direct the expansion of crop and livestock production in the islands. New livestock slaughtering facilities will be built in Lower Valley, and further upgrading of the farmers' market in Georgetown will be carried out. The Public Works Department will continue its program of maintaining public buildings and roads. The construction of a new road from the West Bay Peninsula to Owen Roberts Airport will alleviate the traffic congestion on West Bay Road. The implementation of the 20-year postal development plan will continue this year. Construction will begin on the new mail processing center to be located near the airport, and the central post office will be redeveloped as a modern retail outlet. The sister islands of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman continue to rely on Grand Cayman for economic assistance. Capital projects will be carried out on both islands this year. Madam Speaker and members of this Honourable House, Prince Philip and I were touched by the welcome we received this morning, and we look forward to our visits to the island today and tomorrow. I pray that Almighty God will continue to bless the government and people of these islands.
On the steps of the Legislative Assembly, the investiture, a proud day for the Cayman Islands. Her Majesty the Queen to confer the honor of knighthood on a Caymanian, Sir Vassal Johnson, Knight Bachelor. The honor comes after a dedicated career to building Cayman's offshore financial industry, serving for 17 years as the Financial Secretary of the Cayman Islands. Sir Vassal laid the foundation for the financial industry by spearheading the introduction of laws protecting confidentiality, the Banks and Trust Companies Regulations Law, insurance legislation, and by abolishing exchange control laws. The Most Excellent Order of the British Empire was established to reward subjects who have rendered services of a conspicuous character. Cayman's current financial secretary, the Honorable George Anthony McCarthy, was awarded the OBE. Mr. McCarthy serves as head of the portfolio of finance and development. The honors were announced in the 1994 New Year's honors. The Honorable Truman Murray Bodden, Minister of Education, Culture, and Aviation, officer in the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. Since his election to government this term, he has put the national airline back on the road to recovery. Donovan Ebanks, a chartered civil engineer, has been chief engineer and director of public works for the Cayman Islands for the past 10 years. Mr. Ebanks is the son of one of the longest-serving members of the legislature, Mr. Cradock Ebanks, a retired elected representative for the District of Northside. Mr. Henry Proper, head of McAlpine's Caribbean Division, has been awarded the MBE for services to the construction industry and the development infrastructurally of the Cayman Islands. After 27 years of loyal and dedicated service to the Civil Aviation Authority, Mr. Patrick Johnson, Deputy Director, received the MBE. Mr. Johnson joined the department in 1967 as one of 3 air traffic control officers. Police Long Service and Good Conduct medals were awarded to 4 of Her Majesty's Royal Cayman Islands Police. Chief Superintendent Buell Braggs, RVM, assumed control of the uniform branch earlier this month, was awarded the medal. Superintendent Braggs has served in a number of senior posts since joining the force in 1976. Inspector Donald Watler joined the RCIP in 1976 as a constable. During his 18-year service, he has worked at Government House and the Central Police Station, among other postings. Sergeant Ernie Rivers has received 6 commendations during his career with RCIP. He has worked in several areas of the force, rotating between the Central Police Station, Cayman Brac, and the West Bay and Boddentown substations, currently serving at the latter. He has been on the force since 1976. Constable David Bush also joined the force in 1976. He managed the 1st Criminal Investigation Department office in West Bay. Since 1986, he has been assigned to Government House, serving as driver to His Excellency the Governor. The Cayman Islands Certificate and Badge of Honor to Mrs. Teresa Tessa Bodden, recognized for her service in the area of drug prevention and rehabilitation and community service. Mrs. Bodden was among the first appointed to serve on the Advisory Council on the Misuse of Drugs. She has been a member and leader of several service and community organizations and has served on a number of government boards. Mrs. Marge Maureen Quinlan, principal of the Lighthouse School. Mrs. Quinlan's involvement in the special education field commenced with her appointment in 1983 as the Education Department's teacher responsible for the implementation and development of curriculum for students with learning difficulties. She is one of the founding members of the Special Olympics Association in the Cayman Islands. Mr. Spellman Astley McLaughlin, a Cayman Bracker, joined the civil service over 30 years ago. For 12 of those years, he performed a variety of roles as Little Cayman's district officer. He was the police, customs, and even assisted in air arrivals and departures. He retired from the Customs Department in 1990 as a senior customs officer. He was born in Creek, Cayman Brac in 1929, and following graduation from high school, served as a merchant seaman for nearly 30 years. Following the investiture, it was time for gift giving, and father of the house, as he's been referred to, since he is the longest-serving member, the Honorable John McLean officially welcomed the Queen and presented her with a gift. It is a Caymanite sculpture featuring 2 hawksbill turtles. It was designed and created by Mr. Eddie Scott of Cayman Brac. The turtles are mounted on a base of solid East End Caymanite. Her Majesty's first walkabout, a time for her to bestow the personal touch, to chat briefly with the public along the route from the Assembly to the CIBC building. Hundreds of people and a number of children line the streets, waving flags, using every available angle to get a glimpse. On February 8, 1994, the Cayman Islands National Museum opened a special exhibit to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the wreck of the 10 Sail. Her Majesty's ship Convert and 9 vessels of her 58-ship merchant convoy crashed into the eastern reefs of Grand Cayman in 1794. Caymanians assisted in saving about 400 shipwreck victims. The wreck of the 10 Sail is the most famous maritime disaster in our island's history and the source of our island's best-loved legend. While inside, Her Majesty and His Royal Highness were guided through the special exhibit by Director of the Museum Anita Ebanks and Curator William Tennant. Before leaving, the Honorable Truman Barden presented Her Majesty with a gift of a paper sculpture of the sister ship to the HMS Convert. The sculpture was created by Mr. Gerald Hebert, a local resident from Canada, previously a member of the museum staff. Following the museum visit, the royal couple were the guests of honor at a reception at Government House. Sea of national pride. Colors, red, white, and blue. Children donning their school uniforms, awaiting Her Majesty's arrival for the official opening of Phase 1 of the Ed Bush Sports Center.
Okay, I represent Shauna's Early World of Learning Centre in West Bay, and we've been practicing the children, and they're surely all excited about seeing the Queen, and I am as well. I think the whole thing, it looks very nice, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's a great day for football in the Cayman Islands, and not only for the District of West Bay, but also for the entire country.
And very important is the fact that this is a benchmark for the region.
The Queen and the Duke were met by the Minister for Sports and the first elected MLA for West Bay, the Honorable McKeeva Bush. Also on hand, as part of the official party, persons instrumental in the development of sports, football in particular in the Cayman Islands.
They're getting them up there.
Yeah, that was a good position there.
Yeah. It was bad at first. Terry was really complaining because they couldn't see anything to the podium, but it's much better now. They allowed them to move.
Your Majesty, Her Royal Highness, His Excellency the Governor and Mrs. Gore, honorable colleagues, Honorable Mr. Lennox Boyd, visiting football officials, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. On behalf of the people of the Cayman Islands, and in particular the people of West Bay, it is my most pleasant privilege to welcome Your Majesty and Your Royal Highness to our District of West Bay. I would like to feel that this item on your program makes it a family day for you. Certainly, our large and loyal family of West Bayers has embraced this visit of Your Majesty and Your Royal Highness most warmly. That is because the people of the Cayman Islands love you, Your Majesty, and is loyal to the Union Jack. Your Majesty, as a project, the 8 Bush Sports Centre has been in the process of development for several years. The government is pleased to have phase 1 completed thus far, equipping us to offer facilities at the required standards for hosting regional and international football games. I am delighted that the first of these regional games will be the Shell Cup Games, which opens next week. This occasion, therefore, marks an important achievement for us in terms of the island's place and role in the region. Perhaps more importantly, the opening of this facility this afternoon will no doubt prove a significant benchmark in our local sports development program. I am pleased to say that this complex will be available for all our people to enjoy and benefit from. Our sports development program, with its motto, Sports for All, has one of its primary aims, wide community participation. We hope to encourage young and old able and informed to participate. You may notice while you are here, Your Majesty, the wheelchair ramps for the physically handicapped. This places the sports development program in the broad context of health and general welfare. We stress the link between regular exercise and both mental and physical fitness. We have also taken aboard the association between community participation in sports and the social well-being of our communities and families. We are firmly committed to the view that there is nothing more valuable to us as an island country and to us as a people than healthy, strong, well-integrated family units. We must provide the resources to enable our families to fulfill those basic requirements. Then and only then can they rise to the challenge of providing a loving, caring, and giving family environment. And I must confess, Your Majesty and Your Royal Highness, that though this may be the shortest speech of my political career, I cannot resist the temptation to appeal to our parents gathered here this afternoon. Parents, we need to continue to play our part in our children's education and our children's training. Ensure that our children attend school, ensure that they do their homework, and let us as parents attend the Parent-Teachers Association meetings. This is the only way that we can be assured that these Cayman Islands will continue to carve a place for itself in an increasingly demanding world. That level of support also is necessary for the success of our sports program. Let us all do our part. Your Majesty, I affirm that as one entrusted with this important area of leadership, I will do my part. The government will continue to invest in our most precious asset, our people and our families. This sports center will serve as a model on an appropriate scale for facilities planned for other districts. We will continue to demonstrate our commitment to preparing the Cayman Islands to meet the challenges of the 21st century. The late Thomas Eddington Bush, or Ed Bush, after whom this facility is named, and who gave many times beyond the call of normal duty, died a relatively young man. But we shall remember him for his humor, and as the cricketer, the footballer, the sports announcer, and the loyal civil servant who made such an enormous effort to raise the profile of sports in this territory, he is justly and fittingly remembered in the name of this center. It is now my very pleasant duty to ask you to unveil the plaque declaring this facility open for the enhancement and development of our people through sporting activities.
Look at this one.
We will have the singing of one verse of the national anthem and one verse of the Cayman Islands national song by the combined choirs of the John Campbell Primary School and the Wesleyan Christian Academy.
A beautiful day to be in West Bay. Another chance for Caymanians and other residents to speak, if only briefly, with Her Majesty.
Let's move back a bit.
Her Majesty's walkabouts have become an important part of her royal visits. On the second day of the royal visit, Her Majesty and Prince Philip arrived at the North Terminal after an event-filled Saturday night aboard the royal yacht. Escorted by His Excellency the Governor and Mrs. Gore, they walked from the harbor to Elmsley Memorial Church, where they were met by the Reverend Chris Bailey.
Let us worship him together, beginning with our first hymn, Let Us Loud Praises Bring to Christ, our Heavenly King.
The reading is taken from the 8th chapter of the Epistle of St. Paul to the Romans, beginning at the 18th verse. For I reckon that the sufferings we now endure bear no comparison with the splendor as yet unrevealed which is in store for us. For the created universe waits with eager anticipation for God's sons to be revealed. It was made the victim of frustration, not by its own choice, but because of him who made it so. Yet always there was hope, because the universe itself is to be freed from the shackles of mortality and enter upon the liberty and splendor of the children of God. Up to the present, we know the whole created universe groans in all its parts as if in pangs of childbirth. Not only so, but even we, to whom the Spirit is given as first fruits of the harvest to come, are groaning inwardly while we wait for God to make us his sons and set our whole body free. For we have been saved, though only in hope. Now to see is no longer to hope. Why should a man endure and wait for what he already sees? But if we hope for something we do not yet see, then in waiting for it, we show our endurance. Here ends the reading.
These three remain: faith and hope and love, and the greatest of them is love. which is why I chose the other two for this morning's purpose. Because not just to be difficult, as some of you know I can be with use of text and doing the unexpected, but rather because we usually focus on the love bit. We can't ignore it because the other two are subservient to it, because love is the greatest. But perhaps we don't pause as often as we might to contemplate the other two in their relationship to love, that is faith and hope. Love first, though, a little. Love is the greatest. The basis for all love that is truly love, and not just the appearance of love, is the love that is in God himself, comes from his very nature. We love him indeed because he first loved us. And all that is genuine of love springs from the fact that our Creator has a heart of love, and that he is a living God who, by the living power of the Spirit, shares his love in us, through us, to us, from us. It's a constant desire of his that his people should experience his love and share it, that we should love him who first loved us, and that we should love our neighbor as ourselves. This love of which the Bible speaks is not the soft and sentimental thing that the word love is sometimes used to mean. Far from that. It is something very deep and very profound and very strong. It's the love that constrained Jesus to continue his path to the cross when, like anybody else faced with such a death, he desired so strongly to avoid it. But he had a deeper desire to face it, a deeper obedience that belonged to the purpose of God and his love. It was out of love that he faced that cross for us. And its full pain, something which we do not understand, because it was more than a physical pain, as he bore our sins in his body on the tree.
I feel happy, excited, and glad.
I think it's quite an honor to have the Queen come visit the Cayman Islands in general, and so much more to visit the district of Northside. I think it will do a lot for tourism in the Cayman Islands.
I'm very glad that the Queen is coming so that I can see her, and this is going to be my first time ever seeing her.
The Queen Elizabeth II Botanic Park of the Cayman Islands is situated on 60 acres, jointly owned by the government and the National Trust for the Cayman Islands. The trust was established in 1987 to preserve sites of environmental and historic value and to protect native flora and fauna. Physical work began in earnest in the park in 1991, after hundreds of man-hours surveying the site and documenting its vegetation. Her Majesty was met on this opening day by the Honorable Thomas Jefferson, Minister for Tourism, Environment and Planning, and Mr. Kirkland Nixon, Chairman of the Botanic Park.
Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, His Excellency the Governor and Mrs. Gore, Honorable Mark Lennox Boyd, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. With the birth of the National Trust for the Cayman Islands in 1987, one of the first important projects to be considered was the creation of a botanic park. It was conceived by Mr. Kirkland Nixon while serving as the first elected chairman of the trust. He formed a committee to pursue that goal and has continued to steer the development of the park ever since. The first problem of finding suitable land was solved in 1988, when land was acquired for government through Mr. Bobby Barton, who was vice chairman of the trust. The government then arranged for title to the splendid 60 acres, which now comprises the park, to be held by itself and the trust. We are especially grateful to our two neighboring landowners, Mr. Barton and Mr. Kirby, who have provided generous access to the land, enabling the planting and beautification of its approaches. Sadly, time on this occasion does not allow me to mention all the other people responsible for the incredible progress which has been made, but proper recognition of their contribution will be made public. An early decision was made to focus on conservation and to disturb the woodland as little as possible. The initial stages of development were slow and difficult. The first 50-meter grid was carried out by volunteers, and the roads and trails were hand-cut with the assistance of the prison department. Our first large donation from a private source enabled the formation of the trail, which was accomplished with the use of heavy machinery donated by a member of the committee. The initial plans for the park were drawn by our landscape architect, who met the formidable challenge of having a survey to work from, which did nothing more than indicate the main boundaries. Most of the first phase of the park has been completed, largely due to the dedication of volunteer helpers and a small but enthusiastic staff and the help of various public authorities. During the past 2 years, an enormous amount has been accomplished. The trail has been laid down and developed, an office built and equipped. Electricity has been brought onto the land. Wells have been dug. A nursery facility established, and a habitat built for the captive breeding program of our endemic blue iguana. Last year, following a submission made by a member of the park committee, the park was awarded first prize in a Pan-Caribbean ecotourism competition. Your Majesty and Your Royal Highness have no doubt heard of the exceptional beauty of the underworld which surrounds our island, and which is, we think, the finest in the Caribbean. Our land is black famous. We have no lofty mountains, no rich valleys, rivers, or lakes. We can boast no rainforest, nor do we have any beautiful waterfalls. A walk, however, around the nature trail in this park will demonstrate the complex miracles of our island. One can clearly see the interdependence of all the elements which make up this land. Its fragile composition of water, rock and soil, its plants and animals, and the extraordinary way in which the terrain is organized into different habitats to accommodate all their requirements. I believe that many of today's Caymanians are coming to appreciate the fragility and the importance of their environment in a way that their forefathers understood it and enabled them to adapt to it for their survival. We consider it vital to teach our children these realities, and to this end, we are developing a dynamic educational program. The trail and woodland reserve, which it encircles, will provide a living laboratory for local and visiting science alike. With the completion of the first phase and this official opening, the people of the Cayman Islands look forward to the commencement of the next phase of our program. This will focus on methods of agriculture and special collections of plants and fruits traditionally used for domestic and medicinal purposes, as well as economic crops. A small village to be constructed with functional buildings illustrating the Caymanian architectural, social, and horticultural heritage. A special area of display gardens and plant collections will afford instruction to our many keen local gardeners, and in particular show them up-to-date conservation methods. It will also provide for those involved in land development information on ways to make those methods work to their advantage. The long-term aim for this project is to create a place of great beauty for the inspiration, information, and pleasure of everyone who visits our park. Your Majesty, it is a great honor for us all to welcome you here to open our park, and for us to be able to name the Queen Elizabeth II Botanic Park. We will all strive to ensure that we create a national park which Your Majesty will be proud to have favored with your name. May I invite you now, Your Majesty, to unveil the plaque declaring the park officially open.
Although there have been many visitors to the park before its official opening, Her Majesty and His Royal Highness are the first official visitors, as the register book will reflect. tour began the same way yours would, at the new home of two of Cayman's endangered blue iguanas.
The iguana habitat was made possible in part through funding from the Worldwide Fund for Nature in the UK. The funds were used to help build the enclosure, which make it possible for people at the Botanic Park to view Cayman's iguanas.
Beginning to breed more and more iguanas, and we're getting it to the stage where we're going to have a steady supply of young iguanas that have to be grown up to an age of about 2 years before they can be released into the wild. And we'll need holding space for those, and we'll need also to get them used to the wild, and the idea is that we'll be able to move animals from totally captive conditions through this enclosure where they can double as exhibits and get used to fending for themselves in a sort of natural habitat, and then eventually putting them out into the wild.
The next stop on the tour took the group past Carey's Pond to a new information booth.
Okay, the thatch was done, we had the thatch done by the son of a famous East End thatcher. Okay, we were very fortunate to be able to get him. And in fact, just the thatching itself is done in the traditional ways.
Parks manager Teddy Ebanks took the opportunity to explain to His Royal Highness about tops and the silver thatch palm.
That's to make the straw baskets. They wouldn't use this leaf, they'd use this one. It's called the top, and it's the bare tip of the tree.
There are 676 different plant species found in the Cayman Islands. About 20% of the trees and shrubs are actually found here in the Queen Elizabeth Botanic Park.
Trails developing as it goes along. But also from visitor feedback, you know, we try to develop things, you know, to match, to keep it up to international standards as well. But everything has to be done in a way that doesn't disturb the whole setting of the park.
The Queen's arrival at Old Man Bay in North Side was met with much applause. MLA Mrs. Edna Moyle met Her Majesty and other members of the royal party. She was presented with a bouquet by a student from the North Side Primary School, and a number of people lined the path, hoping for just a glimpse or a chance to say hello. Northsiders are known for their talents in art and craft. Her Majesty was given the royal tour of some of the district's best, while being serenaded by students from the primary school. The district of East End was not forgotten. Her Majesty the Queen visited the site overlooking the wreck of the 10 sail. The site with its commemorative plaque has now been designated as a historic park. Her Majesty made her way up the path leading to the site with the MLA for East End, Mr. John McLean, and Dr. Philip Pedley, the director of the National Archive. After briefly speaking with Mr. McLean and looking over the most breathtaking view of the 10 sails wreck, Her Majesty then proceeded toward the crowds awaiting her. After a walkabout filled with greetings, it was departure time and on to Bordentown. Quite a spectacle in Bordentown, flags of all sizes. It was time to welcome Her Majesty to that district. And by the time she arrived, flags started to appear from every corner, and there were cheers of appreciation and warm smiles of welcome. There was a display of handiwork fit for the Queen. MLAs Roy Bodden, Anthony Eden, and Heg Bodden were on hand to meet her where she was, once again, presented with a bouquet. She was then taken to meet some of the residents of the district. Members of the Red Cross, the Pathfinders, Girl Brigade, and Beavers were well decked out in uniform to welcome Her Majesty. Many got the opportunity to talk to her, the old, the young, and those in between.
As Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth completed her stop in Boddentown, His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh held a very special ceremony at the Georgetown Town Hall. The Duke presented 6 young ladies with their gold awards from the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme.
I was excited because I knew, I thought it was really a big deal because I've never seen someone that big and
very well, terrific. It's beautiful.
Did you feel any different about her visit now that you've come and she's leaving?
I sure do. I'm more sincere about it.
Well, it brings her closer to us, to see her in person.
I think it's been very nice and she enjoyed it and we did too.
What do you think you got out of it?
We've seen something we haven't seen before.
I think so. I think it has been marvelous, wonderful. She should come back soon.
Yes. How about you?
Oh, just we came from Germany and it's our holiday now and we had 2 great days with the Queen. It was marvelous.
Well, I've been able to see the Queen, get close to the Queen. I haven't spoken to her, but it's been nice to just be part of that.
I think it was very, very interesting and very enjoyable and thrilling and just a great time.
I think that it was great to see her in the Cayman Islands. The first time I've ever seen her, and I think that everyone welcomed her greatly, and that it was very organized and very orderly. And I think that she really enjoyed herself. I hope she did.
I guess I did, yeah. I got the opportunity and the chance to go to 2 events, the reception and at the 8 bus field, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I hope the very best for her, a safe return, and thank her for her visit.
Now, have your feelings changed at all toward her monarchy since she visited you?
No, well, I've always been a very patriotic person, and I guess it will make me respect her a lot more, I guess, because it shows that she's willing to go around and pay visits to all the other Commonwealth anyway, countries.
Her Majesty is very pleasant and the people enjoyed seeing her, and I think it was a successful trip and everything, all the activities ran well, so it's been a very successful
Successful indeed. A momentous weekend, one filled with all the pomp and circumstance befitting the royal couple. The Cayman Islands, our islands, was just one stop of this multi-nation royal tour. And while we may have been 5th on the visit list, we are sure our beloved Cayman is among the first in their hearts.
The visit went very well, and apart from the parting showers, it has gone exactly according to the program, and the feedback we've got from our visitors is that they've thoroughly enjoyed the visit. I hope that you've enjoyed this chance to reminisce as I have reflecting on that visit 26 years ago, I recall how different our islands were. We have since enjoyed another royal visit when we welcomed the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall to all 3 Cayman Islands last year. These occasions allow us all the opportunity to demonstrate our love and respect for the royal family and its long history. Several generations of Caymanians have now met the royals and expressed to them their feelings personally. I hope you have enjoyed this special broadcast. In lieu of gathering together to mark the Queen's official birthday this year, I leave you with the words of Her Majesty, who said it so well when she addressed her citizens earlier this year, and I quote, "We should take comfort that while we may have more still to endure, better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again."